Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
In the last 8-9 months, I've had to make a trip to the post office, well, probably 8 times to go find my package.
We've told you multiple stories about mail problems in the Valley, especially in South Fargo. One business owner is now reaching out to us saying he too is frustrated with the United States Postal Service. He says they haven't delivered his packages in recent months, and his business depends on it. Valley News Team's Maddie Gelseth found out how customers can help mail carriers get the job done.
Jeff Mack says he depends on the mail service to deliver parts for his business in South Fargo. And when these packages don't get delivered, it screws up his service.
A lot of the stuff I'm working on is time sensitive. You know, I give a client a time frame on when I think I'll have it done. And when my parts don't arrive on time, then it's frustrating for me, and it's also very frustrating for the customer who's expecting their product back on a timely manner.
Max says the problem is that the packages are in town, but they never show up at his doorstep. This causes him to discount products because items are arriving late.
I'll do anything to keep the customer happy, but at the same time, I don't think that having to wait for parts that are actually in town that don't get delivered should be anything I need to cover with my customers.
Now, Mac asks his vendors that ship parts to him to use other carriers, like UPS, FedEx, and Speedy, because he says those carriers actually deliver his packages.
Shipping that way on some of the bigger stuff is a little more costly, which takes away from my bottom line. But to keep my customers happy, that's what I need to do.
When he asks the Postal Service why the packages don't show up at his home, they just apologize for the inconvenience.
It's a waste of my time. When I have work to do and I have to go spend 45 minutes to an hour going to the post office to get a package, you know, it's an hour out of my day I can't get back.
USPS recommends people to clear the snow from the mailbox, replace or add house numbers, remount the mailbox post if it's loose, or repaint the mailbox. They say these things can help improve services. In Fargo, Maddie Gelseth, Valley News Live.
If you have any mail problems, the Postal Service encourages you to file an inquiry at the email on your screen so they can address each concern individually. And speaking of mail problems, take a look at this. This is an open W-2 form that a Dilworth resident found in her mailbox. The Postal Service says they recall none of her mail being open when they delivered it. The woman says she put a freeze on her credit report, put a push on her filing, and is following some tips the IRS gave her. Cotton, Minnesota was the coldest spot in the nation this week at nearly 60 degrees below zero. A co-op observer for the National Weather Service recorded a reading of 55.9 degrees below zero, the coldest temperature reading in the entire country, and just 4 degrees away from tying the record set in 1996. Mechanic Mike Pechtold, who is outside every day working on his cars, says he is definitely looking forward to the warm-up this weekend, with expected temperatures in the 30s in some spots. That's right, a whopping 80-degree change for the warmer. The joke around Cotton is, when it gets above zero, put on the shorts and go sit by the pool. We might be tempted to put on shorts in the early part of the weekend with the possibility of some 20s, maybe upper 20s, but not today. We made it above zero, but the wind is a little out of control. Hutch, how's it looking tonight?
It is windy out there. We have gusts to 30 miles per hour from the south in the FM area, and many places with winds between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Take a look at temperatures across the region. 56 Rapid City, 41 in Dickinson, still in the teens from the Red River and points east. And with the wind, it's a little on the wind chilly side. A few locations, including Fargo, Sisseton, and Fergus Falls, with sub-zero wind chills. That's why it's had that crisp feel to the outdoors. Temperatures steady to slowly falling as winds kind of switcheroo on us as we go through the overnight hours. And that'll allow temperatures to get cool, but not as cold as we've been. Similar temperatures as we look up to Grand Forks. Take a look at this. Do not get too used to the quiet weather because we have a winter storm watch. Could create some blizzard-like conditions across the valley Sunday night into Monday. I'll have details on that here in a minute.
All right, thanks, Hutch. An employee at the Grand Forks Walmart has admitted to embezzling $12,000 from the store's till. 44-year-old Heather Hill pleaded guilty to theft of property. The general manager there says the paper audits on Hill's till have been coming up short for many days in a row for the past few months. Hill has also apparently been caught stealing cash from the tills. Authorities say she admitted stealing the money every day for the past month. Police also say they found numerous iTunes and Amazon gift cards and several wire transfer receipts in her car. A 58-year-old man from southeastern Minnesota is charged with criminal neglect after his wife's death and the bizarre drug-addled events that led up to it. A criminal complaint says deputies were dispatched to a home on January 24th on reports of a dead person. When deputies arrived at the home, a naked man, later identified as Dwayne Johnson, swung open the screen door and yelled, "My wife is dead," upstairs. Deborah Lynn Johnson's body was found at the top of the stairs, wrapped tightly in a bed sheet. Johnson told investigators he had been throwing Deborah a death party for 5 days, during which they played loud rock music and smoked meth. Medical officials confirm Deborah Johnson was in poor health. The former superintendent of the Rocori, Minnesota School District will not serve any jail time after pleading guilty to indecent exposure unless he violates terms of his probation. The attorney for Scott Staska told a judge in Stearns County District Court the superintendent's actions were the result of trauma and stress, including the 2003 school shooting in Cold Spring in which 2 students died. Staska was initially charged with 19 counts of exposing himself at gas stations and retail stores. He pleaded guilty to 4 counts in an agreement with prosecutors. President Trump says there's a good chance he will declare a national emergency in an attempt to get a southern border wall built. The president commented during a meeting on stopping human trafficking along the southern border. He dismissed chances that congressional negotiators will come up with a border security plan that he can accept, with the February 15th government shutdown deadline ticking. And he harshly attacked House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, claiming she doesn't have a clue. This after Pelosi criticized the administration's decision to withdraw from a Cold War-era nuclear missile treaty with Russia.
But we will be looking at a national emergency because I don't think anything's going to happen. I think the Democrats don't want border security. And when I hear them talking about the fact that walls are immoral and walls don't work, they know they work.
The president and NATO allies argue Russia has been in consistent violation of the treaty's provisions. Pelosi issued a statement saying the withdrawal risks a new arms race. The Moorhead Police Department is losing a valued member of its unit. K9 Milo is retiring. This week, Milo and his handler, Officer Brannon, had their last shift as a crime-fighting duo. The dog became a part of the Moorhead Police Department in 2011 when he was partnered with Officer Lean for 3 years. Then in 2014, Milo was paired with Officer Brannon, and they were together for nearly 5 years. The department posted on its Facebook page saying, "Congrats, K9 Milo, on retirement, and thank you for your incredibly hard work over the years protecting the city of Moorhead." North Dakota's House has sunk a bill to establish a ferry to carry people and vehicles across the state's biggest lake. Representatives defeated the bill 74-17 on Thursday. The bill asked for $10 million for a ferry to run across Twin Buttes to Parshall across Lake Sakakawea in northwestern North Dakota. Proponents say the ferry ride would cut about 120 highway miles for residents in that region. North Dakota ranks as the 3rd lowest in the country for student loan debt, according to a new study. Since 2008, North Dakota saw its total student loan debt increase by 88%, growing from $1.5 billion to $2.9 billion. This puts North Dakota in 3rd for lowest overall student debt. In the U.S., student loan debt has increased by 129% since 2008. Hitting an all-time high of $1.36 trillion in the 3rd quarter of last year. Student loans represent the 2nd largest credit debt for Americans, trailing behind mortgage loans. 8 drivers in their monster trucks will be crashing, racing, and showing off their stunts tonight at the Fargo Dome. It's Monster Jam Triple Threat Series, and while the trucks may be loud, the fans are even louder.
we can actually hear the fans' reaction over these engines that are 1,500 horsepower Monster Jam trucks. So it's pretty intense to have that much fan support behind you.
When we go out there and we do something crazy, and whether it be like the craziest crash to save Big Air, anything like that, you can hear the fans get crazy after you get done. As soon as the motor settles down a little bit, they absolutely go nuts, and we love it.
The doors will open at 6 this evening with the show beginning at 7, and there's another show on Saturday. For tickets and to see the schedule, head to our website and click on this story.